Hare Krishna. So we welcome you to the fourth session on Bhakti Shastri Bhagavad Gita, first 6 chapters. So today we'll complete the first chapter and proceed to the second chapter, which is a long chapter and a very important chapter. So let's start with prayer. Mangala Charan. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmelitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Samrupakadamyam Dadate Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminti Namah Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarani Mo Mahavdanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaur Krishna Navan He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Takanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vishnavebhyo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so before we go further, today's topic, so if some, at least 2-3 devotees can share what we discussed in the last class. Anyone else? Anyone? Okay, so I'll revise it. So initially we started with the section of the signs of victory, where the signs are the transcendental conch shells, the chariot given by Agni, the Hanuman on the flag of Arjuna, and Arjuna, Pandavas being very pious, their pious achievements as Dhananjaya, and Dhritarashtra's hearts being shattered when the conch shells blew. So these are the, and Arjuna's confidence ready to shoot arrows. So these are the signs of victory. Then we went to the next section where the Arjuna begins to speak to Krishna. And Krishna being the, so the section is called as Krishna's Bhaktavatsal, or we can say Arjuna's human nature coming out. So there Krishna as Bhaktavatsal, he as Achyuta, who never fails to serve his devotees. He takes the chariot. Arjuna initially was curious, but then he becomes carried away by affection, both to Kauravas as well as Pandavas. So we contrasted how Arjuna saw the battlefield and how Duryodhana saw the battlefield. So Duryodhana was calculating, strategic, and he is worried about how he can become victorious. But Arjuna was affectionate, and he was concerned about causing pain, etc. So both are material platforms. And then Arjuna becomes compassionate because he is seeing everyone through affection, so he naturally becomes kind. So then comes the Arjuna's reasons for not fighting. The first reason is compassion. He does not want to cause any pain to anyone at a material plane, both for Pandavas as well as Kauravas. Then the second one, then he cries, his bow, Gandiva falls from his hand, his tongue becomes dry, all that signs of lamentation come. So then he goes to the second reason of what if, even if I win the kingdom, if my relatives have died, I cannot enjoy the kingdom. So that is the duty versus enjoyment. First is duty versus compassion. Second is duty versus enjoyment. So we also discussed how this duty versus enjoyment, affects our life also, maybe in disciplining children or in keeping our commitments of service in a spiritual community where our other interests and our commitments, they conflict. So this is duty versus enjoyment. Then Arjuna tells in the third thing, it is about fear of sinful reactions. So here, in the first verse, the conflict is about Dharma Shastra and Artha Shastra. In Artha Shastra says, you should not kill your relatives. If you kill your relatives, you will get sin. But Dharma Shastra says, if somebody is aggressive, Atatayinaha, then they should be immediately killed. And there is no sin. And even the Shastras say that when there is a conflict between Dharma Shastra and Artha Shastra, Dharma Shastra have to be prioritized. But Arjuna says that this is more important and we should not get sinful reactions. So we should not kill them. Then in the second verse, he says, Krishna says, but no, they have invited you to fight. So as a Kshatriya, it's your duty to respond and fight with them. But Arjuna says, yeah, they don't know. They are overcome by greed. So that's why they are doing. But we know it. So we should not unnecessarily get entangled in sinful reactions. For that also Arjuna quotes, an obligation, if it results in a good outcome, then only you have to stick to that obligation. Otherwise, that is not needed. So this is another argument Arjuna says. So these both arguments, they show the conflict between duty versus fear of sinful reactions. Then in the second verse, Arjuna hints about how the sinful reactions not only is affecting him, but it is also affecting the others, the society, the Pandava, the Kaurava family, the Pandava family. So that Arjuna is going to explain in the next shloka. So the next shloka, it is giving the reason 4. And in this, Arjuna explains about 4 aspects and then he summarizes. And then he says, okay, I'm not going to fight. We are doing a very ghastly thing. So this is how, and then Arjuna says, I'm not going to fight. So this is how the chapter ends. Okay. Okay, so we'll recite the shloka and then we'll proceed. Kulakshaye pranashyanti kula dharma sanatana.
कुलक्षये नश्यन्ति कुलधर्मः सनातनः
Dharme nashte kulam kritsnam adharmo abhibhavatyuta.
धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम् अधर्मो अभिभवत्युत.
Shri Ganga Putra Prabhu, can you read translation and
Guruji, I'm traveling.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Kishore Madhav Prabhu, can you read?
Yes, Prabhu. With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in the irreligion. In the system of, should I continue?
Yes.
Yeah. In the system of Varnashram institution, there are many principles of religious traditions to help members of the family grow properly and attain spiritual values. The elder members are responsible for such purifying processes in the family, beginning from birth to death, but on the death of the elder members, such family traditions of purification may stop, and the remaining younger family members may develop irreligious habits and thereby lose their chance of spiritual salvation. Therefore, for no purpose should the elder member of the family be slain.
Okay. Yes, Praj. Yeah, I'll just okay. Yeah. So here Arjuna is talking about Kulakshaya. So then the samskaras, because the elder people, they can ensure that proper samskaras are done as per ashrama, as per the Upanayan samskara, and for grihasthas, vivah samskara. So these samskaras help in purification. So when one is purified, then they can act properly in the society and contribute to the development of society. So here Prabhupada is making this point that there are many principles of religious traditions to help members of the family grow properly and attain spiritual values. They to grow properly and as well as attain spiritual values. So it's both like training in the varnas also, like for Vaishyas have to be ethical, Kshatriyas have to be selfless, Shudras have to be sense controlled, Brahmanas have to be detached. This is one kind of training, and then as per ashrama, for grihasthas, vanaprasthas, etc. So the spiritual values which Prabhupada talks about, they come from four things. One is from Sukruti. Sukruti is like previous life. Like if previously somebody has done bhakti or some kind of yoga, either karma yoga, jnana yoga, so then also spiritual values they get. Otherwise, it comes through sangha of the family members. Depends upon the family members. If somebody is very advanced spiritually, then they may be born in a family of Vaishnavas, as it is told in 6th chapter. So that is another way of getting proper spiritual values. So then third is samskaras called purification, purificated rituals like Upanayan, Jatakarma, Namakaran, these are all the samskaras. And then Shraddha through devotion. So for doing devotional service, like reading, chanting, reading Bhagavatam, associating with devotees, then also spiritual values come. So these are the four ways, and the first three they may assist the the fourth one, Shraddha, devotional service. And yeah, because not everyone is uh, fully focused, pure and fully focused on devotional service. So these things can help. But it's not like everyone needs to do it. Okay. Yeah, so now Arjuna initially, so Kula Dharma, so Kulakshaya leads to Adharma. So the one of the consequences of Adharma is Varna Sankara, which Arjuna is going to explain in the next verse. Adharma bhiva Krishna Pradishyanti Kulastriya
अधर्मामि भवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः
Strishu Dushtashu Varshneya Jayate Varna Sankaraha.
स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय जायते वर्णसङ्करः
Lagnapriya Mataji, can you read? Translation.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. Purport: good population in human society is the basic principle for peace, prosperity, and spiritual progress in life. The Varnashrama religion's principles are so designed that the good population would prevail in society for the general spiritual progress of state and community. Such population depends on the chastity and faithfulness of its womanhood. As children are very prone to be misled, women are similarly very prone to degradation. Therefore, both children and women require protection by the elder members of the family. By being engaged in various religious practices, women will not be misled into adultery. According to Chanakya Pandit, women are generally not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. So the different family traditions of religious activity should always engage them, and thus their chastity and devotion will give birth to good population eligible for participating in the varnashram system. On the failure of such varnashram dharma, naturally the women become free to act and mix with men, and thus adultery is indulged in at the risk of unwanted population. Irresponsible men also provoke adultery in society, and thus unwanted children flood the human race at the risk of war and pestilence, sorry.
Pestilence. Okay. So here Prabhupada is saying that if there is adharma, then one of the aspects of dharma is to give protection to children as well as women, so that the woman can train the children. Because when they are small, actually children can be best trained by women than by men in most cases. So then the woman, for that woman also needs to be pure and chaste. So that way they have to be protected in terms of training and some sort of safeguards. It's not a restriction, but it needs training and proper engagement, etc. So if that if dharma is destroyed and if it is adharma, then that cannot be ensured. So then the chastity of women can get affected, and then the quality of children also will get affected. Not the woman cannot train children properly, and also the woman even during conception of children itself, the woman may not follow the garbhodana samskar and all, because of which wrong population will be born. Varna Sankara. Varna Sankara means their varnas are mixed, and also that's what the marriages will happen, all the pratilom, anulom marriages. So the purity of varna and all, they cannot be maintained. So then the children will not have proper samskaras for a particular varna, but they may have abilities, but they may not have the samskaras. So that is how it be. Like somebody can have talent of being a Vaishya, but he may not be very ethical or charitable. So that is how things come up. So yeah, here Prabhupada makes somewhat a heavy statement that gender woman, Chanakya Pandit's statement that women are not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. So first of all, this is not a universal statement. Chanakya Pandit also makes another statement. So women are a source of prosperity and all. It's not Chanakya Pandit is also one-sided about it. So the quote is, you should not trust women and politicians. And the context is that they may be fickle. So here Chanakya Pandit wants to say, don't trust politicians and women, those who are fickle. So not all women are fickle. So when a woman becomes fickle, so then they should not be trusted. So we see the fickle examples of some fickle women, duplicitous women are like Mandara, Surpanaka, etc. And also Vedas say there are 4 types of women. They are called as Padmini, Chitrini, Shankini, Hastini. So the first 2 are good types, and the second 2 are little negative types. They are more selfish and all. So like that, there are other classifications also where Prabhupada says also about Swairini, Humshtali. So especially they are the negative types. So there are several types of classification of women. So it's not that all women are bad, and this statement also does not apply to all women. This statement of Chanakya Pandit only applies to bad women. Okay, so now Arjuna talks further about because of Varna Shankara, what can happen. So we will read the next verse. Shankaro narakayaiva kulagnanam kulasya cha.
Sankaro narakayevo gnanam kulasya cha.
Patanti pitaro hi yesham lupta pindo daka kriyaha.
पतन्ति पितरो येषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रियः।
Yes. Prerna Mataji, can you read it? Translation and purport. Isha Mataji, can you read translation and purport?
Yes, Prabhuji. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestor of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Purport. According to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities, there is a need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family. This offering is performed by worshipping of Vishnu, and because eating the remnants of food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of sinful reactions. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions, and sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a material gross body and are forced to remain in the subtle body as ghosts. Thus, when remnants of prasadam foods are offered to forefathers by descendants, the forefathers are released from ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. Such help rendered to the forefather is a family tradition, and those who are not in the devotional life are required to perform such rituals.
Okay, you
One,
can stop. You can stop there. Yeah. So here Prabhupada is saying about the forefathers. So how forefathers, sometimes because of sinful reactions, they may be stuck either in ghostly bodies or even in the hellish condition, or they may be in a very miserable situation, even in a material life. So for this, one example is comes in Bhagavatam is Vena. So when Vena gets punished by Brahmanas, so he dies, and then he after then Prithu Maharaj is churned out of Vena's body. So then afterwards there is a description that Prithu Maharaj liberates Vena. So Vena gets birth in a very miserable condition, a very low birth of a Shudra. So Prithu Maharaj liberates him from that sinful condition. So that is one example. There may be other examples also. So that's what this is one of the tradition which Arjuna is pointing about that the Pindodaka Kriya means if the oblations to forefathers are not done, Shraddha ceremonies are not done, so then this is one of the aspect of Varnashrama. If there is Varna Sankara, Varnashrama will not be followed, and this will be the consequence. This is one of the consequence. So now Prabhupada is telling about devotees. So if you are practicing pure devotional service, then Prabhupada is quoting you the verse, Devarshibhutaptan Nam Pittunam Naim Kinkaro Naim Runecharachan. So these things need not be done. Okay. So of course, this is applied to those who are practicing pure devotional service. And now someone is attached, they may also do it. But as Prabhupada told, it has to be offered to Vishnu. Okay, so next Arjuna summarizes the things, what all these shlokas. Okay, so we will recite this. Doshair ete kulagnanam varna sankara karakai.
दोषेरैते कुलग्राणां वर्णसङ्करकारकैः
Utsadyante jati dharma kula dharma cha shashvata.
उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्मः कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वतः.
Okay. Yeah, Prabhupada is saying by the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. So yeah, so community projects and family welfare activities, all this, like how to take care of children, how to take care of old people, the marriage system, how husband wife should deal with each other, live together, all this, and how women have to be taken care, how they have to be trained. So these all things they get back, they go into back seat. They are neglected. So as a result, the society will not be following dharma. So they will, so in that way it will cause spiritual degradation of the society, and also it creates many complications of the society. Okay. So here Prabhupada is saying both Jati Dharma as well as Ashrama Dharma. Jati Dharma is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, their dharmas. So that as well as Ashrama Dharma, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. So both dharmas will get destroyed. So here Arjuna is summarizing all the what he has spoken till now. It's both. Now Arjuna is just in the next shloka. Arjuna is telling how it's such a big thing. That what if I fight and if all the elders like Bhishma and Drona are dying, it's a big problem for the society. And Arjuna is quoting reference from Shastra. So yeah, Utsanna kala dharmana manushyanam janardana.
सन्नकुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन
Narake niyatam vaso bhavati iti anushushuma.
नरके नियतं वासो भवति इति अनुशुश्रुम.
So yeah, Arjuna is saying, "O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed will always in hell." So here Arjuna is saying that I think you can recollect this word Anushushuma. So this word comes even in Ishopanishad. So here Prabhupada is appreciating this word Anushushuma first. So Prabhupada says, Arjuna bases his argument not on his personal experience, but on what he has heard from the authorities. That is the way of receiving real knowledge. One cannot reach the real point of actual knowledge without being helped by the right person who is already established in that knowledge. So especially when it comes to spiritual knowledge, we need to learn in parampara. Even material knowledge also we learn in parampara, but also based through logic and pratyaksha, also empiricism as rationality. Also there is some way to know it, but definitely spiritual truths, we cannot experience them, and nor they always fit in the logic that we can understand. So that's why it's very important that we learn it in parampara. That's why it is called, it's a descending process, Aroha Pantha and Avaroha Pantha. So we follow Aroha Pantha, deductive knowledge. Then Prabhupada says that, our acharyas say that if one does not do prayashchitta, then one will go to hell. Sridhar Swami quotes a verse, Prayashchittam akurvana papeshu nirata naraha apaschat tapina kashtan nirayan yanti dharuna. Those who do not perform prayashchitta after engaging in sins and are not repentant go to the most terrible hells. Yeah, so this is another thing which Arjuna is saying, that if you, doing prayashchitta is also part of Varnashrama Dharma. So if that is not done, so then again, it becomes a hellish condition. And here Arjuna is using the word Janardana as a sarcasm. You have to see the welfare of all, but know how you are saying that, how you are telling me to fight. If I fight, all this is going to happen. So this is what. Okay, so we will discuss about some aspects of Varnashrama, like we will discuss these three aspects in three groups. One is marriage. So the institution of marriage. Then about care of women, training of women, protection of women, and parenting, like how children has to be trained and protected. So three questions can be discussed, and one from each group can present what they have discussed. So first is what is the current predicament and problems being faced and effect on society. So what is the current status of what is the current status of how the marriages are being done, and what are the problems it is creating, and how what are the issues and how it is affecting the society, how it is affecting the mental health, or how it is affecting the economy, or it's creating social unrest, crime rate, etc. So it's like this. Then how it happened means through history, how things got neglected, or what because of materialism. So all these things you can tell. And then what can be done individually what we can do, and like collectively what we can do. So let's say if we take example of taking care of elders. So we can say what is the current predicament? Yeah, elders are neglected. They are not taking care. They are not taking care. So they are feeling lonely. Secondly, they are not engaged, and in some cases they are not financially well situated. They are scattered here in very poor quality old age homes. So this is one thing. So what are the consequences of it? Now government only has to take care of all of them. And on another part, because the elders are separated from the younger generation, the younger married couples and all. So the married couples also don't have proper support, especially like when women have pregnancy and all. So they also have to become dependent on professional help. So this way, and also they also need guidance in life and all. So, but why it happened? Yeah, it maybe happened for different reasons. One is the generation gap, uh, the technology revolution and all. They're creating a generation gap because of which the younger generation may not find the elders relevant. And second is the Western values. They destroy the faith on authority and sticking to tradition. They may more focus on rationality and individuality. So this is another thing. And third is the elders also, they are not honest and they are not integrate, and they have high expectations, more selfish expectations. So these are like some reasons which because of which the problem has come. And what can be done individually we should try to cultivate respect, gratitude, and appreciation for the elders, and we should try to accommodate them and care for them as much as possible. Means we should do it basic things, but can try always to improve in that regard. And collectively what can be done is awareness has to children has to be made aware of the need of elders, and elders also have to be educated on how they can deal with the younger generation and all. So yeah, this is something which I'm giving an example of how about elders, the three aspects. So so you can join. Yes.
Ruchi, can you again briefly, like just tell what are the three aspects? One is like in case we have to speak on marriage, like
Yeah. One group can take one aspect.
okay, one group can take one aspect.
First group marriage, group 2 is women, the group 3 is parenting. Okay.
Okay.
And the three questions they have to discuss, and one can present. Is it clear?
Marriage, women, and parenting.
Yeah. Group 1, group 2, group 3. And these are the three aspects. I gave example of how to do with elder people. So
So shall we decide group 1 will be speaking on marriage, and
Yeah, yeah. Group 2 on women.
will be women, and
Yeah.
group 3 will be parenting.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so you can tell like how they can join the groups. And
So yeah, just let me rename Proji so that it's clear. Just a
okay.
second. Okay, anyways, so group 1 will be discussing regarding marriage. Group 2 will be discussing on women, and group 3 will be parenting.
Yeah.
So I will broadcast the group. Devotees can join. So there are total 19 participants, including Prabhuji. So 18 participants. So we can like 6 can be in each group.
Yeah.
And I will broadcast now, so you can join.
Yeah. One more thing is, please be brief in your presentation. Please give your answers point wise, so that we need to finish this exercise maybe in around 10 minutes or 8 to 10 minutes. We should finish. So yeah, so you have 5 minutes.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhu.
this is my just suggestion that considering this our online class,
Yeah.
is it okay that we can have open discussion rather than group discussion to save time and to coordinate it?
Yeah,
What do you say?
group discussion will be more interactive, more involving. I want to try. Means if everyone wants to have open discussion only, then I am okay.
If we are sitting in the one hall or room, then it's easy. But this year, I don't know how it happen, but we can.
At least you can try. If it doesn't work, then fine.
Devotees, are you able to get any message regarding joining the groups? Can anyone confirm? Because
Prabji, we can see the breakout rooms option on the left corner of the screen. Should we press on that?
uh,
Prabhuji, I have joined you group 1. But your mic is mute. Mic is on mute, Prabhuji. Yavanamadas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, only 3 devotees have joined. Can you please join?
Prabhuji, I'm not able to see where is that link.
Mataji, at the bottom of your screen on the Zoom's window, you will see breakout rooms. And if you click on that, and then you can see the 3 groups, and then you can click on join.
Yeah, thank you, Proji.
Yes. Thank you.
Prabhuji, who should join which group?
You can decide, Proji, randomly which group you want to join. There are 3 groups. One group will be discussing regarding marriage, women, and parenting. So group 1 is for discussing on women. Women. Group 2 is marriage, and group 3 is parenting.
And now the third wrong trend has been coming up by movement. So this is
Hare Krishna.
little dangerous to the society where there is
Hari
no
bol.
commitment.
Sorry to interrupt, Prabhuji. You are discussing on which topic? Just to confirm.
Marriage.
Marriage. Okay.
Marriage.
Prabhuji, I was in group 3. How I have come here?
Mataji, I moved because some groups all joined one group, so I had to distribute. So I just moved you to another group. Sorry for that.
So what is it? We were discussing and I got.
So the topic for this group, Mataji, all of you, is marriage. So you can speak on marriage. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was speaking. I'll just continue.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay, only 3 participants in this group.
Yes.
Okay, what happened to? Okay, let me check. So you have not started the discussion yet, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Jayanand Krishna Prabhu, Jayashri Mataji, and Arunpal Prabhu. Sorry, Arunpal Mataji. I think you have not joined the group breakout room yet.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I am not able to join any group.
Mataji, I have sorry Mataji, who is speaking?
Jai Sri Radha Devi.
I have assigned you manually, Mataji, in the group. I don't know why you are not able to join.
Can you please resend?
I can't resend. I have just moved you manually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you are not able to join.
Girls to marry a girl and send her to another family, you have to give a large amount of dowry. So in many cases, like there is emotional, sexual, and abuses which is happening. So maybe that was one point where that belief of because it all started from the exploitation that they would have faced in at least some of the families. So even the rape cases that we are coming across in the society, the girls are very vulnerable group, right? When it comes to these things, I'm not saying boys are any exception. Even boys are abused these days, but then we find those things more in women. So maybe that is one point, because I have some juniors in my college to whom I speak about these things, and they were like, none of them want to even get married because they think they will be exploited and they will lose their freedom. So it's not like they don't want a family, but basically there is a fear in the mind of some girls, at least, whom I have spoken to. Yes, what you have said is right, but then what is the underlying belief, or why these things are happening? Why did feminism come into a play? So I think we should be looking little deeper, like what was the context then and how things are now. Because in the Vedic time and what is said in the Vedas, the women were respected. Even though they were doing only the household chores, but then they were given a respectful position. Now even the ads, if we see, there is a lot of body shaming, body imaging, and So those things are happening. Is that the real respect a woman is wanting? So there are certain societal issues also which we should be considering, I feel.
Yes, Mataji, as you've spoken, that is very true, because by few things that women have faced, and after that, this feminism have come into picture. But the main thing which we are trying to focus is on that the Vedic culture, that the women were having respects, and they were giving they were the only fixed position was there, that okay, that men will go out and he will do his own work, and the female, she will cook food and she will take care of family. That was the main duty of a woman. And nowadays, just because a few things have changed, like as you said, they were being exploited, and due to the other things, they have to come out, they have to be independent, because husband was being with some other lady, or some other things have um, will be there. But yeah, I think if this comes, that if women will be doing this thing and the men will be doing this thing, then now the problem is that the children, they are facing many issues, like just because the parents are working, and that's why they are not getting proper sanskaras, and they are not getting proper training. And if we follow this again, this Vedic culture, then maybe this problem can be solved. That is my point. Sorry if I spoke anything.
Hare Krishna, sorry, I just joined a bit late. I was just roaming around and seeing if everything is okay. So can you just summarize, what was discussed? Because I have joined this group because, yeah, less participants here. Can you just summarize, any one of you can, what you just discussed, what points you discussed briefly? I understand this is the group for discussing on care for women.
Yes. Prabhuji, can you just share the screen where those points were given, like what Prabhuji has mentioned?
To be
Those
honest,
3 points.
to be honest with you, for me also it was not clear exactly, because which points we have to speak. But anyways, I will share. So regarding marriage, he said elaborately that what you have to discuss, current status of how the marriage is happening, how it is done, and how it is affecting the society. Regarding women, I think we need to discuss how currently the women are taken care of, and in the society, and maybe how it is affecting the society. Are we taking the care of women in a proper way or not? So yeah, I think, and what we can do individually and collectively to improve that, the care for women. So I think this is the topic. I understand.
Yeah.
Maybe you can.
What I remember is first point is like how they came into that situation. First is that okay, how this thing happened and why this matlab ye kyun hua, like this thing is there, and then how it happened, and then the results, like what can be done. What I remember from Prabhuji's talk.
Yeah, okay. So what point you discussed till now, like what was the point? I just joined a bit late. So
actually we just started Prabhuji discussing.
So I think the first point regarding the current situation of women. So I think in terms of equality also we can say that basically the point is lack of spiritual knowledge, where woman is also, there is a equality in terms of when we consider as a spirit soul, we are equal. There is no distinction. But when we think on bodily level, because of the lack of spiritual knowledge or lack of awareness about one's own self, so we see that both are trying to compete, especially the current generation, where the woman is also trying to compete in each and every aspect. They want to be, like equal. And because of that, many problems are also getting created. So because I feel that this is all because of lack of spiritual knowledge. Because if we see in Vedic, like Vedic tradition, the women are given a lot of respect. They are stated, like we see that even in the Bhagavad Gita, again and again Arjuna is being addressed like as Kunti Putra, or like we can see that every time we see that any great personality, they are being remembered by the name of their mother. So the women are given a high position in our Vedic scriptures. But currently, because of that lack of spiritual knowledge about one's own self, one tries to identify with the body, and then they are trying to compete. So I think that's one reason why we see that there are so many problems. I mean, the root cause, I think about that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Then how it was affected, we have to again mention this point on this.
So, yeah. Maybe others like Ranjana Mataji, Arunapal Mataji, you want to tell about how it is currently affecting, like what are the current problems that we are facing, like especially in case of care for women, what are the current challenges, issues? I think, okay. I got a message. Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. In between the voice was breaking, so I was not able to hear the question.
Yeah, what is the current situation of women, like what is the current situation? Are there any?
Yes,
Yeah.
so the current situation is, I don't know whether women are safe in a public place, whether it comes to traveling or taking care of the family, and how much protection they are receiving from their husbands and the other men at home, whether it is father, brother, or husband, because we are seeing cases where father is also exploiting a girl. So we have degraded so much so that even in family, women doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
Not with respect to every woman, but at least these things are happening in our country, in our society. And second thing is like even the ads when we are seeing, like in Fair and Lovely, whether it is any cosmetic ad, always there is a woman who is fair skinned and who is exposing. So these kinds of billboards and the Bollywood movies and actors, they have an influence in the society because as children, both girls and boys, the movie has a message. For example, there was a movie called Dr. Kabir Singh or something. So the character of the Kabir Singh, how he is portrayed in the film is like without even having the permission of a girl, he has considered that girl as his girlfriend. So these kinds of wrong messages which is happening through the social media and which is being propagated. This is another thing. And even in the work front, if you have to manage, like I have some friends in IT sector. So if you are a woman, then there are better prospects of you getting promoted to a higher position than a man. So these kinds of biases which happen when it comes to man and woman, these things. So these are some of the examples which I can remember. And there was a reason. I am a doctor myself, so sometimes we do have some cases in casualty where people drink and come because most of them are addicted to drugs and alcohol, and mostly they are all men. Unfortunately, for some reason, most of them are men. So then, even in the work front, we are not safe because there was a recent incidence of a doctor being killed, being stabbed to death by a drunkard in one of the government hospitals in Kerala. So, being one of the most literate state, if this is the condition of a doctor who is just doing her duty, and out of no provocation, he just stabbed her, and she passed away. So, such things are happening. So, where are the women safe? Not in family, not in work friend. Then, what more can we expect?
Yeah. I think, yeah, thank you, Mataji, for that point. I think just make a note of points that we discussed. We need to end the meeting. I got a message from Prabhuji that time is up.
Another thing is about the dowries also, Prabhuji. Many crimes are related to the dowry and sexual harassment, even after marriage
Dowry
that is
system.
happening. Yeah, and the rape cases that is happening with the girls.
After this, we have to just explain that how this can be solved or how this can be resolved. So I think this Vedic knowledge and the spirituality, like we can just present this point that that by preaching this the mission of Krishna consciousness and these things, the Vedas, what Vedas were like teaching about how women should be respected and all this. After bringing this point, there can be a change in society, like people can understand. So this conclusion we can give at the end.
So I think
We can give
establishing
examples
Varnashram
like
is also important. The Kshatriyas should be there who are like, making and who are ensuring that the rules and are followed by the citizens. So we need Kshatriyas, like, that's who are properly trained and who are following the Vedic way. So we need those Kshatriyas. Establishing Varnashram is also one very important aspect to making, like if the kings are educated in spiritual knowledge and they are well properly trained, then they can make sure, these things doesn't happen in the society. And if it happens, a suitable punishment is also awarded.
Yeah. And from childhood also, if mothers or parents can give proper teaching to their children, so this won't come into picture like after
Yeah,
some.
true. So I think we need to. I know the discussion didn't happen that like it was bit because the points were not clear. But anyways, we'll close the breakout room here and we'll join. Let us see. We can share some points. So I will end
Thank
the breakout session. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, Prabhuji, should we decide who will be summarizing? No?
Yes, I think that will be better. Who will be summarizing? Who will take the lead on that?
You can take Prabhuji.
I just joined. I'm a bit I missed the initial.
I
Maybe
think this or Isha.
any one of you, Ranjana Mataji or Isha Mataji, you can choose like any one of you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so
And will tell them what is the effect of Varna Sank. Varna Sank. Prabhuji, you are on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Thank you for the nice presentation. It's very well point wise and very clear. And thank you also for giving some personal example. Thank you. And also, yeah, we also lost the knowledge of why marriage has to be done in this way, why the roles are like this of the husband, wife. So that knowledge is also lost. So that is one of the reason. And the knowledge from the Western view of marriage, so that has come up and that has become more prominent. Because that was also not there in the child education. So yeah, so that is there. Okay, so the next group on women.
Ranjana Mataji or Isha Mataji, do you want to take a lead to summarize? Maybe Ranjana Mataji, you want to summarize?
Yes, Hare Krishna. Yes, so the first point that we discussed was that because there is not a spiritual perspective in understanding between a man and a woman, that we are both equal, like as spirit soul we are the same, but then we are seeing we are attaching a bodily concept to the woman. So lack of spiritual understanding is the root cause. This was said by Yamuna Vilas Prabhu. So we started with this comment. So how things have spanned out, how we are identifying ourselves with the body. Second thing what we did was what are the current challenges or situation that is happening when it comes to the women who are in the society. So then we discussed about how women are abused right from the childhood. We can see there are cases of rape, abduction, then dowry system. Then even the women are not safe in the workplace, and both man and women are getting addicted to alcohol and other habits, and how media and Bollywood films, they are playing a picture in presenting a different image of a woman in a society, and how youths and people are in general getting influenced. So this point was discussed, and Isha Mataji was explaining on what is the solution for this perspective, and how we can deal with these things. So right from the childhood, there should be training for both girls and boys on how the women were treated in the Vedas. Then we were giving examples of Draupadi, and how she was protected, and like Yamuna Vilas Prabhu was mentioning about the uses of terms like Kunti Putra. So even the women were given respectful positions. Even during the Vedic times, they were addressed as son of such and such mother. So how we can inculcate these good habits by the scriptural study, which has to be started right from a very beginning of the life through Vedic education, and what is the importance of varnashrama in this forefront. There should be all classes of women, like even the Kshatriyas. So it is the responsibility of Kshatriyas or the kings or the administrators of the state, whomever, to protect women, and they should not be left abandoned under the influence of some men, and especially women and children should be taken care of by the state. So that is a responsibility of the state as a whole. So individually we can try to imbibe messages from the Vedic studies or Vedic scriptures and try to understand what the position of the woman was. And if we can bring in the varnashrama system in the society, there shall be a solution for these things.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Mataji, for sharing this. You have shared how the current women problem, they're facing addiction, and they're too much into bodily consciousness, and the reasons because of media promotion and showing a negative and a destructive picture of women when the media is portraying, etc. Thank you. And also, in some way, the religious leaders also have misused religion to abuse women. It happened maybe in all religions, using some particular spiritual things, so which is also wrong. They means they have done it for their own selfish purposes or sensual purposes, which is also wrong. Okay, so the last group on children, on parenting.
Prabhuji, I can speak.
Yes, Mataji.
It's not too structured, but whatever we discussed, I think.
Yes, Mataji.
So the first one, addressing what are the current issues. I think for the children, there have been, at least the current generation of children, there are too many issues that they face, some which have been forced because of the technology. So COVID was one of the best time which really forced everybody to use the technology, including children from a very young age, which we would never have even imagined them using the technology. And because of the use of technology and they're having really sharp minds, they don't know where to restrict, where to limit themselves. And though COVID has passed away and the schools have started, but children are still hooked to gadgets, which was started actually for their benefit so that they don't miss school. But this has actually, some of the children have really got misled and have got into bad company because of use of such technology. And because they're young minds, they think that they know too much, and sometimes they tend to argue with parents and try to even point it out that how useful it is, but they don't realize the time that is being spent on that is not worth it. So that is one of the issues. Then for devotee children specifically, the current issue could be that association of outside children, because how much ever the culture may be good or being tried to being given a Krishna conscious culture, when they associate with children outside, the influence of outside picks on them very fast. Then also schools many a times are responsible for it because of the laws that are changing and the rate at which the dynamics, be it of marriage or looking at something, is being changing so much that LGBTQ has been promoted so much on media that even some of the schools talk about it very openly in schools to school children. And these things, which probably what we understand at now, where in my 50s I hear about it, some children are hearing it when they're just 10 or 12. So getting to know this is at an age where they don't even know what it means is something hard for the children to handle it. And some children could get misled by being informed before even they even understand what it means. Also, one of the point discussed was that people these days are more liberal when it comes to children. They are okay with children doing some things in certain manner, may not be favorable in a traditional way, And the pressure on children in schools is also very high, that at a very young age, they're expected to know too many things. So these all, well, like we discussed these 5 points, which are issues of children. And because these are children issues, these have also become parenting issues for us. Now, how it happened, one, the technology was mainly because of COVID. Then when it comes to association, we don't have much control, because not everywhere there are schools where you can have a devotional environment. So that is something which is not too much in the control of a parent as to how it can happen. Then some schools, some very liberal minded schools, probably this is something we can avoid, where they openly talk about different issues which are not to be told to children at a very young age. So at least in that, maybe we can segregate and identify schools which are more traditionally favorable. And about people being more liberal, this is something, a concern for everybody, that many a times from very young age, it is said that give them the roots before giving them the wings. But many of us, we tend to give the wings before they even understand the roots. And this becomes a cause. So people have to be sufficiently strict for it. Parents have to be sufficiently strict while grooming children. Then on pressure on children, which is coming from schools because of high expectations or the syllabus being in a more advanced way. That is something probably most schools will not address it. And if you try to even bring it up, sometimes your child will be boxed as somebody who is not fit to get this higher education. Whereas this could be an issue with most children, but the school is not going to handle this. So probably as to take off the pressure, as a parent, it may be good to identify the area the child is more good in and give them an environment where they will be promoted. At least at home, this can be done, that they could promote them, or let the child grow in the area where they are good at. So these were the few things that we discussed. For association also, one of the suggestions that came was to have camps, association, and for because of the use of technology, to have more of human interactions, and so that they stay away from gadgets and be in groups and among people. So they have to be really have, the activity should really be made very interesting. Otherwise, technology is still very attractive to children.
Okay, Matas, thank you very much for sharing your wisdom and very nice insights. I hope all devotees got benefited from the themes as well as the discussions, because most of them are pertinent to your lives. Children has a lot of freedom these days, and especially we see every month practically there is a mass shooting in school. They have access to things beyond their adhikar, and and they don't have the ability to, they don't have sense control. So thank you. And we see basically, and if we see on economy front, because of bad marriages and women not being protected, we see the fertility rate is decreasing, especially in developed countries, because of which it is creating a lot of problems in the present as well as in future. So they are trying to get people from outside, and it is causing another problem of immigration, the recent Paris incident. So because as one goes away from spiritual knowledge and the culture based on spiritual knowledge, the complexities are going to multiply and become complicated. So this is the thing which Arjuna is also saying. So now Arjuna says the gravity of this issue, and then then we proceed.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Yes.
Guruji, we missed out first point, which was marriage.
No, marriage, Mataji has marriage is done.
We were late to join, Guruji. We were on discussion. So could you please just briefly?
Maybe you can hear on the recording. Basically, they say that, means Mataji has shared that the marriage is more based on a bodily thing, like and horoscopes are not being taken into account. It's more on bodily, on bodily attraction and on the income and all. And how it happened is the parents also don't know, and the culture is not transmitted. So on individual level, yeah, we can share, we can follow the traditional systems so that it will help. Mata shared her one example of her son asking about whether she had a boyfriend or no, all this. Of course, she was very honest. Prosi, you can hear the recording. You'll get maybe a good picture of it.
Yeah, yes,
But
sir.
okay, thank you. Okay, so we will recite this verse. Aho bata mahat papam kartum yavasita vayam.
अहोबतं महत्पापं कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयम्
Rajasukalophena hantum swajanam udyata.
यद्राज्यसुखलोभेन हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यता.
So here Arjuna is saying it is mahat papam. So it's a great, alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. So if the society, the social system is destroyed, then it's like no, everything is destroyed. So that's why Arjuna is telling this. So Arjuna does not even want to. So he is saying, interestingly, Arjuna is saying it's not we are about to commit, we have committed. So Arjuna is saying even we are thinking about fighting, that itself is a mahat papam. If we fight, then it's going to be a more sinful, more deadly thing. But even we are thinking about fighting this war, this itself is a mahat papam. That's what Arjuna is saying here. So then Arjuna tells, no, then in the next shloka, Arjuna is going to tell, better I don't get fight and I get killed. So, yeah. Yadimam apratikaram ashastram shastrapanaya.
यदि माम् अप्रतीकारम् अशस्त्रं
Panaya dhartarasharane hanyus tanme shemataram bhavet.
शस्त्रास्त्रान्यस्तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत्.
Okay. So better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. So, yeah, let me read the purport. It is the custom according to Kshatriya fighting principles that an unarmed and unwilling foe should not be attacked. Arjuna, however, decided that even if attacked by the enemy in such an awkward situation, he would not fight. He did not consider how much the other party was bent upon fighting. Yeah. So, here Arjuna is saying, because I have thought of fighting, I have committed sin. So even if they kill me, so then I will be atoned from the sin if they kill me unarmed. So there is no problem. So Arjuna is like blaming himself, and it's like a very concentrated inferiority complex. It's a symptom of mode of ignorance. So here our acharyas given sometimes in a conversation format. They have explained almost practically all this series of verses in a conversation format, which will make it more easy to understand. So Krishna says, even if you are disinclined to fight, Bhishma and others are inclined to fight and will kill you. So what is to be done? Arjuna says, not opposing them will be my prayaschitta for the sin of thinking of killing relatives. This is most beneficial, shemataram. Removing sin just by this prayaschitta at the end of life when they kill me. And Bhishma others will also not incur sin by killing me in this manner. Because I am sinful, killing me is not a problem. Yeah, so this is extreme criticism of oneself. Arjuna is very, very disappointed. He is giving philosophical reasons. This is not a Arjuna is giving, no, this is reason 1, reason 2, reason 3. As we have done presentation, this is reason 1, reason 2, reason 3. This is we are talking pure philosophy. We are not emotion and all, but Arjuna's emotions are reflecting, are behind the philosophy which he is speaking. So that's why he's telling one thing at another time and another thing at another time. It's incoherent. So now Arjuna is fully depressed. It's called self-loathing. I'm seeing nothing positive, no optimism in life, and no fully into that. Okay. So now Arjuna sits on the chariot and he says, I will not fight. Evam uktva Arjuna Sankhe Radopasta Upavishat. Visrujya Sasharam Chapam Shoka Samvigna Manasaha. So he is a Shoka Samvigna Manasaha. He is fully absorbed or inundated by depression and lamentation. Shoka, lamentation. That what sin I have done. So that is the current shoka of Arjuna. Prabhupada says, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. So while observing the situation of his enemy, Arjuna stood up on the chariot, but he was so afflicted with lamentation that he sat down again, setting aside his bow. Such a kind and soft-hearted person in the devotional service of the Lord is fit to receive self-knowledge. So Arjuna's qualities qualify him to receive spiritual knowledge. So to receive spiritual knowledge, one need to have sense control. If one is focused on sense gratification, he may technically and logically understand spiritual knowledge, but he will not be able to realize it or apply the spiritual knowledge. So here Arjuna is kind and soft-hearted, so that makes him fit to receive self-knowledge. And he's also very detached. This thing also will come in the second chapter soon. He's detached, and he's not worried. He's not worried whether he gets kingdom or not, or whether he wants to fight or not. So that also is another thing. So goodness. So in goodness only one can inquire spiritual inquiry. Okay. So we completed this section. So in the section, Arjuna gives 3 aspects. So first, if the elders are lost, then the Kula Dharmas are lost, then Adharma prevails. So then that leads to Kulastriya Pradushanti, that the woman gets contaminated. Because of that, Varna Sankara happens. And if Varna Sankara happens, then the forefathers will not get the Shraddha. Because of that, they will fall down. And Arjuna summarizes that both Jati Dharma as well as Ashrama Dharma, both will get destroyed. So then Arjuna says that this is a huge thing, we are very grievous sin we are committing. And Arjuna says, this is not just we are going to commit, but even thinking of that itself is a sin. And Arjuna says, I have committed sin. So even if Dhritarashtra kills me, even if Bhishma, Drona kills me unarmed, there is no problem. I will be absolved from the sin, and they will also not get any sinful reaction. So in this way, Arjuna gets fully depressed and he sits on the chariot. So in this way, first chapter ends. Now I'll just revise the first chapter. So first chapter, the first section we started is with the first verse, Dharma Kshetra, in that Dhritarashtra's attachment, Mamaka, Pandava, and then the significance of Dharma Kshetra, and now the Yuyutsavaha, like Samaveta Yuyutsavaha, why Dhritarashtra is asking the question. Dhritarashtra's intention we saw, and then because Dhritarashtra wants to win, and he's afraid that the Dharma Kshetra should not influence. So then Sanjaya understands the attachment of Dhritarashtra to victory and addresses the emotion. So he tells about the conversation between Duryodhana and Drona. So then starts the next section, Duryodhana's diplomacy. So then Duryodhana points out the weakness of Drona by being lenient to Drishtadyumna. And then he says you should not be lenient this side. Then he gives him confidence based on qualitative and quantitative calculation. And then he gives him confidence that you should protect Bhishma. So we also saw like some lessons of anxiety management from this. Then the next section is Signs of Victory, which I have also revised in the first half. So again, the conch shells, Agni chariot, Kapidwaja, pious achievements. Yeah. So this shows how the Pandavas are supposed to get victorious. So then again, Krishna's Bhaktavatsala and Arjuna's human side. Arjuna was initially curious, then he becomes attached, he becomes affectionate. So then based on that affection, the four reasons: duty versus compassion, then duty versus enjoyment, then duty versus freedom from sinful reactions, then duty versus concern for society, Kulakshaya. So these are the four things we did. Okay, any quick questions on first chapter?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, may not be maybe a small doubt. I am observing the Collier's BG purport. What it is, Prabhuji, like?
I also need to, so like I have exported this from Folio, so I need to check and I'll tell you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we will start the second chapter. Okay. Yes, Madhav Harinam Prabhu.
Prabhuji, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
One inquiry.
Yeah.
When we distribute Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah.
then when new Mataji they read Bhagavad Gita, they go through this section. This Kulache Pranashanti.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, and another, it is said that Jayate Varna Sankara, and there Chanakya Pandit clearly, directly tells that women are generally not very intelligent.
Yeah.
So and they have big issues on with this.
Yeah.
This issue to us.
Yeah.
So how to deal with this? And they also ask many questions. That's why Mataji Prabhuji are differently situated in temple. Even they cannot sing like Mangalarti. Why they can sing?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it depends on time circumstance. You have to see how to answer. But in general principles, I have already like discussed that that statement is not a universal thing. First thing is Chanakya Pandit also said many favorable things about women. So that is first point, and second point is it does not refer to all women. As per our Vedic culture, the Shastras, there are different types of women. So it only applies to fickle women. So this is the second thing. And then though Prabhupada has written like this, Prabhupada has treated women in a very very sensitive way. He encouraged them to take responsibility, to take even leadership roles. So that way. So that is the thing. And yeah, you can also say on at a spiritual platform, there is no distinction. So this is something. And yeah, in terms of that thing, it depends upon the culture. Like in Western temples and all, it's not all. Yeah, means the separation is there because separation has to be there because the focus in temple has to be on is no spiritual focus. If there is no separation, then it is likely that the focus will get diluted. So that's why the separation is there, and this is a natural human instinct, natural or a default human instinct to for each gender, not to focus on the other gender. This is a commonly accepted thing. So to make the focus spiritual, that's why the separation is made. So that's what, and so that's a normal thing. Means it should not be a problem. Yeah. Okay. I hope it's fine. So we will start the second chapter. The second chapter is called Sankhya Yoga, or Prabhupada names it as Contents of the Gita Summarized. And here it has 5 sections again. Here the fundamental spiritual knowledge is explained. That's why it is called the main concept. Sankhya knowledge, the knowledge of the spirit soul, is explained. So that's why it is called Sankhya Yoga. So the first, it starts with the Arjuna's further continuation of the confusion. Initially Krishna tries to console Arjuna as a friend. Then Arjuna again gives some more arguments. Then Arjuna fully, gets confused, and then he surrenders to Krishna. So then the knowledge of the soul, the Atma Gyan, Dehinosmin yata dehe, vasam sajena yata vihaya. So Krishna tells that, and Krishna tells about reincarnation. Then based on that, Krishna tells, you're not really causing pain to Bhishma and Drona. You're only causing pain to their bodies. They are actually spiritual beings, and and you will not incur sin, and it is your spiritual duty as Varnashrama Dharma to fight. And you're thinking about enjoyment of the kingdom, that is also temporary. So based on that, Krishna says this and inspires Arjuna to fight. Then after that, Krishna wants to tell about Nishkama Karma, but for that Krishna lays the foundation for that by telling initially about Sakama Karma, or you can say Karma Kanda. So Krishna inspires Arjuna to fight, so you'll be happy. Either you will become a king in this planet, or you'll become king in the heaven. So then Krishna comes to Nishkama Karma Yoga, or called Buddhi Yoga. Then if you want to be really free from your sinful reactions, then you should fight without expecting any results. Karmanyavadikaraste, this shloka comes there. So then that section ends with Krishna tells that a perfected the intelligence is freed from all the dualities and is focused on the absolute truth. So something like that comes. So then, but Krishna is talking about fighting, or Arjuna has to fight. So then Arjuna asks this question: how a man with a fixed intelligence acts in this world. So then the discussion of Sthita Parigya, where there are many Dhyayato Vishyan Pumsa, so important shlokas for sadhakas are explained. So this is how second chapter is. We will start with the first section, and let's see, I think at least we can complete a good number of verses, at least five to 8 verses. If we can complete, that's good. Let's see how it goes. So the first shloka will recite. So here Sanjaya is describing to Dhritarashtra the situation of Arjuna. Sanjayuvacha tam tata kripaya vishtam ashrupurna kulekshanam. Somebody repeats.
Sanjay Uvacha tam tatha kripaya vishtam ashupurna kulekshanam.
Vishidantamidam vakyam uvacha madhusudana.
Vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudanaha.
Saying Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna spoke the following words. I think someone can read. Prerna Mataji, you can read the purport.
Material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. Compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. The word Madhusudana is significant in this verse. Lord Krishna killed the demon Madhu, and now Arjuna wanted Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding that had overtaken him in the discharge of his duty. No one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. Similarly, a man fallen in the ocean of nations cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress, his material body. One has okay.
No, you can continue.
One who does not know this and lament for the outward dress is called a Shudra, or one who laments unnecessarily. Arjuna was a Kshatriya, and this conduct was not expected from him. Lord Krishna, however, can dissipate the lamentation of the ignorant man, and for this purpose, the Bhagavad Gita was sung by him.
Okay,
This
thank you. Thank you, Madhu. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. So here Prabhupada is talking about material compassion. So that is what Arjuna is crying. Ashrupurna kulekshanam. So his eyes are filled with tears. Vishidantam. and his depressed mind is depressed. So Prabhupada is telling how the material compassion is false. But if we see the Prabhupada's lines fully, let me just read. Okay. So if we see Prabhupada saying, no one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. Similarly, a man fallen in the ocean of nescience cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress, his material body. So, Prabhupada is not totally against material compassion, but Prabhupada wants to make the point that that should not be all in all. There should be spiritual compassion. So, if you see Prabhupada himself has instituted Food for Life, and he was also compassionate at a human level, but along with that, he always coupled it with spiritual compassion. He gave them some sukruti, either gave them the benefit of chanting the holy name or Krishna Prasad, or make them favorable, appreciate devotees, ISKCON. So that way Prabhupada has done. Yes. So now, yeah, we'll go to the next shloka. So here, again, Krishna is speaking. Krishna is going to speak for the first time. So, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samapastitam.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastha Kashmalam Samupastitam
Anarya Jushtam Asvargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna.
Anaryadushtam Asvargam Akirtikaram Arjuna.
So here Prabhupada is going to first explain Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan. So the word Bhagavan Prabhupada is going to explain. And then Prabhupada is going to describe the situation. So here what is not here? It's not here. Yeah. So Krishna is saying Kashmalam. Kashmalam means contamination. Idam Kashmalam. So Idam Kashmalam here refers to Arjuna not doing his duty of Kshatriya. Vishame, in the battlefield. This battlefield is very important. It's Dharma Yuddha. It's a very crucial thing. Arjuna, how this contamination of you not doing your duty as a Kshatriya has come in this crucial time of this war, Vishame? How? It is Anarya Justam. It is unfitting for, it is not befitting for one who wants to get liberated. Because unless you do your dharma properly, you cannot get liberated. And not only about liberation, but asvargyam akirtikaram. Even if you want for your own happiness sake, akirtikaram, it is not going to make you famous. It will bring you infamy. That will make you sad as a Kshatriya. And asvargyam, it will not, in the next life, it will not give you a superior destination of heavenly planets. So how this has come? So here Krishna is telling in a more philosophical sense, and in a more personal manner, he's trying to inspire Arjuna that how it is not going to benefit him this situation, and he's explaining about the situation. Okay, so we will read from Prabhupada about Bhagavan. Isha Mataji, can you read this purport?
Yes, Prabhuji. Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as Bhagwan throughout the Gita. Bhagwan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. Bhagwan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding, namely Brahman, or the impersonal, all-pervasive spirit, Paramatma, or the localized aspect of the Supreme within the heart of all living entities, and the Bhagwan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11, the conception of absolute truth is explained thus. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yaj jnanam advyam Brahmeti Parmaitmeti Bhagwan iti prapdyate. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of absolute truth, and all of them are identical. Such phases of absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. These three divine aspects can be explained by the example of sun, which also has three different aspects, namely the sunshine, the sun's surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the preliminary student, and one who understands the sun's surface is further advanced, and one who can enter into the sun planet is highest. Ordinary students who are satisfied by simply understanding the sunshine, its universal pervasiveness, and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal nature, may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the absolute truth. The student who has advanced still further can understand the sun disk, which is compared to the knowledge of Paramatma feature of the absolute truth. And the student who can enter into the heart of sun planet is compared to those who realize the personal feature of absolute supreme absolute truth. Therefore, the bhaktas or the transcendentalists who have realized the Bhagwan feature of the absolute truth are the topmost transcendentalists. Although all students are engaged in the study of absolute truth, are engaged in same subject matter. The sunshine, the sun disk, and the inner affairs of the sun planet cannot be separated from one another, and yet the students of three different phases are not the same category.
Yeah, just a minute. So till now Prabhupada talked about the three features of absolute truth, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So then he, through the sun analogy, Prabhupada has explained the Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan features. And Prabhupada pointed out how the Bhagavan feature is the highest. So now Prabhupada explains the word Bhagavan from a different, means the qualities of Bhagavan. Yes, Mataji, you can read.
The Sanskrit word Bhagwan is explained by the great authority Parashar Muni, the father of Vyasdev, the supreme personality who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation is called Bhagwan. There are many persons who are very rich, very powerful, very beautiful, very famous, very learned, and very much detached. No one can claim that he possesses all riches, all strength, etc. entirely. Only Krishna can claim this because he is the supreme personality of Godhead. No living
Okay.
entity.
Thank you. Yeah. So, so Prabhupada basically is paraphrasing the shloka of Parashara Muni. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasha shriya jnana vairagya chapi shanna bhaga iti angana. So Krishna says how in the samagra, means the Bhagavan should possess it in complete. So Prabhupada explains how other personalities like Brahma, Lord Shiva cannot possess as fully as Krishna. Then also, so Prabhupada is quoting from Brahma Samhita here. Yeah. So, yeah. Then again, Prabhupada is further quoting about Edi Chamsakala Pumsam and all. So Prabhupada is more and more substantiating how Krishna is only the Bhagavan. Initially, Prabhupada defined who is Bhagavan, and then Prabhupada substantiated how Krishna is only that Bhagavan. Okay. So then here Prabhupada is talking about, so the context of the shloka, that what is Kashmalam, what is the Vishame Samupastitam, then Anarya Justam. So Prabhupada is explaining the word Anarya, Arya. The word Aryan is applicable to persons who know the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. Yeah. So a civilization based on spiritual realization and who knows the value of life. So that is called as Aryan, and Prabhupada is explaining how the current society of the current situation of society and all. And yeah, so then Prabhupada explained the words Anarya Jushtam, Aswargyam, and Akirtikaram. And how Krishna is instructing Arjuna, started to instruct Arjuna. But we need to just make a note that here Krishna is not instructing exactly as a spiritual guide. Krishna is now also acting at a friendly note. Yeah. So this is the one. Kashmalam is contamination of avoiding duty of a Kshatriya. Vishama is the time of battle. Arjuna is jewel among warriors. Anarya. Anarya is not befitting for one who is aspiring for liberation. Yeah, Akirtikaram and Asvargyam. Then Krishna further, can say chastises Arjuna, rebukes Arjuna. Now Krishna does it in a more family friend and on a social level. Like you say, if someone says, "Yeah, as a devotee, how can you do like this? No, as a very senior, how can you do like this?" So Prabhupada also sometimes does. You're American people, you should do something big. So this is like no. So this is what Krishna also tries to do now. Klaibyam masmagama partha naita tvayi upapadyate.
क्लैब्यं स्मगमापार्थ नैतत्त्वयुपपद्यते
Shudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktodishta parantapa.
क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तपः
Okay. Ishwar Madhav Prabhu, can you read? Perfect. Hare Krishna, Kishore Madhav Prabhu, can you read?
Reading Prabhuji.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Arjuna was addressed as the son of Prutha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father Vasudeva. Therefore, Arjuna had a blood relationship with Krishna. If the son of a Kshatriya declines to fight, he is Kshatriya in the name only, and if the son of Brahmana acts impiously, he is Brahmana in the name only. Such Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are unworthy sons of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become an unworthy son of Kshatriya. Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. But in spite of all these credits, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna and that such an attitude in Arjuna did not fit his personality.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, continue. Arjuna might argue that he would give us the battle on the ground of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives. Krishna's response: Shudram Hridaya Daurbalyam Tyaktvosta Parantapa. But Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity where weakness of such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or so-called non-violence should be given up by persons like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna.
Okay, so here the word Shudram first is Klaibyam Masmagam Pada. This refers to Arjuna not doing the duty of a Kshatriya. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, your position is very special. You are the son of Pritha. Means you have the Amsha of Indra. So you are very special. If some no Tom, Dick, and Harry. So some Kshatriya and some nook and corner does that. It's okay, but you are a very special Kshatriya. So it's very unbefitting you. It's no. So get rid of this impotence and fight. But Arjuna is saying no. I should not cause pain, no, to Kauravas and Bhishma. Then Krishna is telling Shudram Hridaya Daurbalyam. This is your weakness of heart. Tyaktva. So leave this and stand up and fight. So now Arjuna responds to Krishna's these two ways of Krishna try to again inspire Arjuna in a more friendly note, not exactly as a philosopher, but it will happen soon, that thing. So now Arjuna gives his argument. Arjuna Vacha Katam Bhishma Maham Sankhe Dronam Cha Madhusudana.
अर्जुन उवाच कथं भीष्मम् अहं सङ्ख्ये द्रोणां च मधुसूदन
Ishubhi Pratiyotsyami Pujarhau Arisudana.
ईशुभिः प्रतियोत्सामि पूजार्ह अरिसूदन
Okay, so Arjuna is saying, how can I Kadam Bhishma Am Sankhya Dronam Cha Madhusudana? These are people who are worthy of worship. I should give flowers to them. I should offer flowers to their feet. How can I offer arrows? So this is the fifth reason. This is the background for the fifth reason. Respect. Respect for elders. So Prabhupada is saying, respectable superiors like Bhishma, the grandfather, and Dronacharya, the teacher, are always worshipable. Even if they attack, they should not be counter-attacked. It is general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight. Even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. So this is what Arjuna is saying the reason. Okay. So this is Krishna is saying, no, but these two elders are fighting against you. Why are you not able to fight against them? Yeah, you don't fight, but they are going to fight you. Then Arjuna is saying, no, I cannot do so because they are worthy of worship. Puja or how. I should offer flowers to their feet in devotion rather than sharp arrows. Oh friend Krishna, even you injure only the enemies in battle and not your own Guru Sandipani Muni or your friends the Yadus. Oh Madhusudana, killer of Madhu. But Krishna is saying, actually here Madhusudana, there are two meanings. So the first meaning is, Krishna says, I am a descendant of Madhu. Madhu is actually the father of Vrishni, whose later descendants are Vasudeva and Devaki. So Arjuna is saying, you don't kill your son like your forefather or ancestor Madhu. So you don't kill. So why you are asking me to kill? You don't kill Sandipani Muni, and but no, why? How can I do that? So then Arjuna is saying, yeah, I don't mean that. I'm not calling you that way, but you are Arisudana means. So here Krishna Arjuna is saying, yeah, please, kill the doubt, the demon of doubt. That's why, he's again calling Krishna as Arisudana. So that way. So yeah. Okay, so Arisudana here refers to you. Yeah, so you don't kill Madhu, but you only kill enemies. So then why you are asking me to kill my grandfather and my guru? And no, I also only want to kill my enemies, and they are not my enemies. So that way Arjuna is saying, replying to Krishna here. Okay. So you also only kill your enemies. You are Arisudana, but not Madhusudana. So then why you are asking me to kill? Okay. So then now Arjuna's righteousness. Initially the reason was respect. Now Arjuna's righteousness. Gurun hatva hi mahanubavan shreyo bhoktum vaiksham apiha loke.
Guruna hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum vaiksham apih loke.
Hattvardakam mamstu gurun haiva bhunjiya bhogan prudira pradiktan.
Hatvartha kamastu guru nihaiva bhunjiya bhogan rudira pradipyan.
Yeah, so here Arjuna is, I should read it. Okay, yeah. So now Arjuna is telling, yeah, okay, even if I kill and now I become victorious, but whatever kingdom I get, that is again going to be stained with the blood. Like I don't want to rule a kingdom which is earned by killing someone. I don't want to be a king like that. So that is Arjuna's righteousness. So it would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. So this is the second argument of Arjuna. First is I should not disrespect my elders. Second is I don't want to enjoy a kingdom which has come by killing my elders. So this is the second argument of Arjuna. So Prabhupada is saying, according to scriptural quotes, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. Bhishma and Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhana because of his financial assistance, although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial considerations. Under the circumstances, they have lost the respectability of teachers. But Arjuna still sees them as superior and he doesn't want to kill. So because Arjuna is a cultured man, he wants to be righteous and non-violent. So Krishna has tried to console Arjuna by two arguments, and Arjuna answered Krishna's arguments in two ways again. But now Arjuna is really, that attachment is too overpowering him. Now he really gets confused, and then now he really stops. In the end of first chapter also, he sat on the chariot. But again, when Krishna spoke again, he responded. But now he says, now it's over. Now please guide me. So yeah, here Arjuna gets really confused. Na chaitad vidmakataram no gariyo yadva jayemu yadiva na jayeyuhu. येनेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः ते अवस्थिता प्रमुखे धर्तराष्ट्रा. Okay, so here, I'll read the translation. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. So this shloka, there are three uncertainties which Arjuna is facing. The first one is Nachaitad Vidmo. Yeah. I don't know what to do. I don't know which is better, whether to fight or beg. Arjuna did not know whether he should fight and risk unnecessary violence, although fighting is the duty of the Kshatriya, or whether he should refrain and live by begging. So this is the first dilemma of Arjuna. And then the second dilemma of Arjuna. So now even if he fight, whether he will win or not, if he did not conquer the enemy, then begging would be his only means of subsistence. So this is the second uncertainty, that whether he will win or not. If he does not win anyhow, then he has to again beg. So why to fight? So then third uncertainty, even if victory awaited them, their cause was justified, but still it would be difficult to live in their absence. So then he says, even if I win, then Kauravas will not be there. So then how can I enjoy the kingdom? So these are the three uncertainties Arjuna has. And so now Arjuna is really confused. So now Arjuna takes shelter of Krishna. So Prabhupada is also saying that how a great devotee of the Lord. So this shows the qualities of Arjuna, that he is detached and he has sense control. So that makes him qualified to get the spiritual knowledge. Okay, shall we read it? Okay, this is a big thing. Maybe in tomorrow's class we will see these 5 shlokas, and then these are little important shlokas. Maybe better to spend some good time on that. Then tomorrow we'll try to complete as much as possible the knowledge of soul. It will be a little technical section and a philosophical section. So today we saw the fourth reason of Arjuna, the Kulakshaya. It has 4 aspects. The elders, if the elders have died, then there will be adharma. Adharma leads to contamination of women. Then there is Varna Sankara, and from Varna Sankara, there will be no offerings to forefathers. So as a result, there will be a full collapse. So then Arjuna told it's a big sin, and Arjuna fully sits on the chariot. So then there was also a group discussion on 3 topics: marriage, parenting, and position of women. So that is an application of the Kulakshaya and all the concepts. So where if to the extent the society goes away from spiritual culture and spiritual knowledge, the problems are going to become really complex. Prabhupada also going to explain in the next sloka about material perplexities. So then we see the second. Then we came to second chapter. It starts with the description of Arjuna, how he is Ashrupurna Kuleksha. The eyes are completely filled with tears. So then Krishna as a friend, more like a friend, he tries to console Arjuna. Initially, he gives a philosophical and a personal reason. Then second shloka, he gives more about a family reason. You are a pruta, so you should fight. Your consideration is Hridaya Daurbalyam. So yeah, so these terms are important. So please read them. There are questions related to it. Hridaya Daurbalyam, Shudram. So these things. And then Arjuna answers it in again 2 shlokas. One is respect. How can I kill my superiors? And even if I kill them, whatever I get is because of violence, which I cannot enjoy. It is tainted with their blood. So then now Arjuna has become really confused. He has 3 uncertainties. What is his duty? Fight or beg? Even if he fight, if he loses, he's going to beg. So what is the use of fighting? Then third is, okay, even if I fight and kill others, how can I enjoy with whatever I fight? So these are the 5 reasons. So please try to understand them as much as possible in whatever depth, so that it should not happen. Generally, why Bhagavad Gita is spoken, no one knows. Because Arjuna does not want to fight. But why Arjuna does not want to fight? What are the reasons and all? So if you understand it little more depth, then we will also get more. We can relate to the explanation given by Krishna also well, and we can understand why Krishna is speaking in what chapter. So that will help us, and that will also give us more motivation, to read Gita. Otherwise, Arjuna, Arjuna does not want to fight because he's attached to family. Why Krishna spoke all these chapters? We cannot so much relate. Okay, so finally, are there any questions? Okay, so we end here. Okay. Prerna Mataji, yes, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you have stated that one may receive and understand spiritual knowledge, but he won't be able to realize it because of the intensity, because of the tendency of self gratification, right?
Yes, Mataji.
We are in a Grihastashram.
Hmm.
We are in Grihastashram. And although we are trying to become self-realized, which is far away for me, but still in Grihastashram, sometimes if your spouse is not that much considerable about self-realization, you are being forced to have self-gratification in so many ways. So am I not fit to become self-realized, Prabhu?
Mataji, means this is this maybe some senior congregation devotee can answer it better. But yeah, means we are trying our best, like following 4 regulative principles is we are doing that austerity, and we are not going towards sense gratification. And yeah, we have to see in a situation like sometimes some aspects of sense gratification, definitely they are no's, they are prohibitions. Some are like regulations. So regulations we have to see, like under guidance how much we can do that. Like yeah, some are like eating some food prepared from violent means. So that is like prohibited. But tasty food, so that has to be taken in a regulated way. So we can have also opulent pressure, but with some regulation. So these are 2 principles with respect to sense gratification for devotees. So some things have to be prohibited and some things have to be regulated. So as per time place circumstance, we have to see what aspects we have to be prohibited. Some are common for regulative principles and some things, but some more as per our time place circumstance we have to see, and some have to be regulated. So balance has to be there, like, because we are also conditioned, we are not fully Krishna conscious, so we have to also fulfill the needs of our body to some extent in a regulated way, so that and in a spiritualized way, in a spiritual domain, so that our senses, mind becomes stable to practice Krishna consciousness. So it's a journey. As time progresses, the austerity, the regulation will be more, as we become more purified, we can also increase our austerities and that way. So yeah, more details maybe you can get from some senior congregation devotee. I hope it answers.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It
Okay.
was nice. Thank you.
So thank you. So we stop here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha Hare Krishna.